say that they manage to maintain the same level of IT service, I'd have to be convinced in that, yeah. If you're going to achieve it, what you have to do is change your model. It's the bottom line. If you spend whatever it is, 300,000–400,000 a year on average to maintain your services, if you reduce that, something's going to lose out. Now, if you continue on the same model you've always had, you're definitely not going to be able to deliver the same standard of service. However, what companies are almost being forced to do now is look at alternative models of delivering that service, yeah? A traditional model that's been out there for a couple of years has been the whole outsourcing of IT, of your services, of your support, of your requirements, rather than having it in-house. Naturally, the cloud is the next stage of that, where you're outsourcing your infrastructure. So it's been written to death to this stage, Sean. You know, you don't have the capital costs of acquisition and so on and so forth. But definitely cloud computing is a methodology, outsourcing is a methodology. But the key is you have to change your model. Because if you continue with the same model you have and reduce resources, you're going to get reduced services. There's no doubt about it. It's interesting. It's not the biggest transformation from a technology perspective. Yeah. So if you look behind everything that's written on the cloud, there's very little new technology, and I've said this to 1,000 people at this stage. Yeah. Because there's so much written about it, and everyone wants to write about it, and per se, we're having an interview about it right now. There's a perception out there that this is complex, that it's difficult, that it's hard to understand. It is the biggest transformation from a business perspective. With cloud computing, basically, and there's no denying this, it's an alternative method of consuming your IT resources. That's all it is, John, yeah? An alternative method of consuming your IT resources. So the traditional model, where you'd have IT in-house and you'd be supporting that through your in-house resources, it's purely an alternative way of having those resources delivered to you, whether it's through software as a service, infrastructure as a service, or platform as a service. So do I think it's a huge transformation? Yes. From a business perspective, from IT, but not from a technological perspective. It's frustrating. I find it personally frustrating. I can't pick up a newspaper or an article or anything now in our industry without it being called cloud. I had an interesting situation, or I saw an interesting situation a few weeks back where a company talked about cloud delivers DR solution, and basically is online backup to a DR center, yeah? But which has been around for years. So, but unless it's called cloud, it doesn't get any attention. Now, the next level of that is that nobody wants to talk about their technology anymore unless they're calling it cloud technology, which is amazing, okay? A recent example, there was a company that came to Ireland. It was announced that a cloud company had come to Ireland. It was a CRM solutions company, customer relationship management solution, software solution. That's what it's been doing for a long time, yeah? It was advertised that a cloud company had come to Ireland. If you ask the guys running this company, what are they? They develop software, customer relationship management solutions, yeah? Now, their new delivery model is via software as a service. In other words, remote delivery of the model. But people looking at that, and you know, I've had people saying, Brian, are these going to compete with you? I say, no, they have nothing got to do with what we do, yeah? So, what's frustrating about the cloud, there's been so much written about it, and nobody wants to talk about the technology unless they're calling it cloud technology. It's creating confusion in the market, yeah? To me, it consolidates around three solutions, and two primarily. Software as a service, which is what Salesforce.com are doing, so what Microsoft are doing now. There's platform as a service, where allowing people to develop their applications on platforms. And then there's the next most important one, which we're mostly involved in, which is infrastructure as a service. Software as a service basically is, instead of buying software, getting engineers in to load and deploying it locally, you go online, someone like Salesforce or Microsoft, and you draw down what you require on the basis of the number of users, and you pay on a per user basis. And that's going to be the future of how software is delivered. Infrastructure as a service, instead of building your storage and your servers and your platforms, come to a shared platform within a data center. Just a different way of delivering. Everything else is smoke and mirrors outside of this. And if there's one message I'd leave from this today is, guys, it is as simple as that. Forget everything that's written behind it. Forget all the future about where this thing is going. It's an alternative methodology for consuming your current IT resources. If it doesn't pass TCO, right, total cost of ownership, my advice would be don't move forward, okay? Now, what that basically means is it more cost effective for you to move all your services and all your infrastructure to a cloud solution as to have it in-house, okay? Now, not all companies meet that requirement. I'd advise any company who in the last 6 to 12 months has spent a lot of money in infrastructure, the timeline is not right for you to move in cloud. You need to get a return on investment on what you've currently have invested. So the first thing I'd say is cost, but there are companies out there where cost isn't the key priority. It's flexibility, it's scalability. In other words, currently right now, if you add another application to your environment and you need to buy a server and some storage, there is a process to go through to go to your provider, order a server, wait 2 to 3 weeks, have it implemented and deploy your application. So there could be 4 to 5 week lead time. If you're on a cloud platform, the lead time is 0. You deploy your technology immediately. So for companies who require that level of flexibility and that level of maneuverability within their own environment, it gives huge advantages. Obviously the scalability as you grow up and the resilience of the environment, whereby in a cloud environment, all your technology is clustered, you should be getting 5 nines at least in uptime, yeah? So all those things are a huge advantage, but 9 times out of 10, prove the total cost of ownership, prove the return on investment. Cloud computing, if you're in the right life cycle, will deliver 25, 30, 35%, depending on the company, the size of your overhead, the size of your support teams, and so on and so forth. But I would say to yourself, look at where you are in the life cycle of your procurement, but the key is cost reduction.